Hey, Fearless. Hello, and welcome to another Tactical Tuesday. Tonight, we're going to have a little bit of fun. We are going totally rogue. We're last minute. It's all very organic tonight. We are going to invite some of our expert guests on in self-managing. Now, one of our guests has now moved into professionally managing for others, but the beauty of his experience in the past, Samuel Lee, you guys probably know him. We're gonna bring him on in a second. Is that he self-managed for many years, so he feels our pain. For those of us that self-manage, say hi, guys, in the chat. I see you guys. Some of you guys are here. Hey, Kelly, nice to see you. And let us know if you're self-managing or if you've thought of maybe self-managing. What we're finding is there's a lot of people right now that are saying, you know what, interest rates have gone up, my cash flow is being eaten up, I might need to go into a self-managing strategy. So as much as it's probably not all of our preference to do so, some of us might need to convert there. So that's going to be a topic, I think, a lot this year. So from Red Deer, hey, Crystal, George, Heather, Cindy, hey guys. Are you self-managing, guys, or are you using a property manager? And so the beauty of what Sam is going to bring to us tonight is self-management experience. Angie Weave also is joining us tonight, self-managing for the last, 10, 12 years maybe. We're going to get them to introduce themselves, tell us a little bit about themselves. And what we're going to do is we're going to crack down on a live a rental ad right now. That's live right now. It's not getting as much traction as we would like. I mean, to be fair, it's kind of a tough time of year, kind of a tough situation to be in right now. But we're going to talk about algorithms. We're going to talk about websites to use and how the different websites use different algorithms and how you have to tweak things a little different for each one. What's working, what's not. Our Eastern representative for Eastern Canada is not going to join us tonight, last minute, but nonetheless, most of these sites are across Canada, so we're going to be talking about a lot of those. So before hey Sean, nice to see you. Okay, before I keep on rambling, I'm going to bring on our guests. So we've got Angie, we've got Sam. Hey guys, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having
us.
Hey. All right, so Angie, let's start with you. Tell us a little bit about your self-management journey, where you're from and all that kind of stuff. Give us a little breakdown.
Sure. So Andrew, my husband, and I moved to Saskatoon in 2007. And we've been investing almost exclusively here in Saskatoon because we do all of our own property management. We take care of our own buildings, we do our own renovations, all of that kind of stuff. So it's nice to have it right in our own backyard. Right. And actually, for the first time in, 10, 12 years, we actually this spring had a property assistant come on board to help us because I was kind of tired of managing myself. And what I've discovered is I actually really like to be in the know on my properties. And so I've taken back management myself.
Okay, interesting. And, I honestly, Angie, as you may or may not know, I went through the same journey. I'm going to just bring myself down a little bit. I was self-managing for many years. We went over to a property manager. I didn't love it. Came back into self-management, have been here for probably another 10 years since. So, how about you guys? Are you guys self-managing out there? Throw it in the chat. So Chris, Hermel, Heather, Tammy, I know your answer. Melissa, I know some of these answers. But guys, throw it in the chat. Are you self-managing? Does this hit home for you tonight? So, okay, so Sam, tell me a little bit about you. What's your journey in self-management?
Well, I still self-managing my own portfolio. But the old saying always good. No one will do it better than yourself, right? This is why one of the biggest advantage to be self-managed. It does take you time, but a lot of the time, if you look at the pros and cons, a lot of the time it worth your time to outweigh those extra time that you have to put in because of relationship and everything. I'm sure we'll get into it. We still self-manage our own portfolio, but now I'm licensed, so I have to change my line a little bit. Other than self-managing can do the best, you have a second option.
Right. And it's so interesting because Sam, as you probably know, we sing a different song. Most people will say if you want to scale, you have to give up the self-management. I'm actually always on the other side of the coin, as always. And I'm saying, you know what, for us, it was the reason why we're still standing was because we took self-management when our market went, different direction than what we had been planning. Taking self-management back was the difference between cash flowing and not cash flowing. So, lots of markets out there, guys, well beyond our planning, well beyond our abilities have changed. Interest rates have changed, markets have changed. There's a lot of change out there. So, for us, that was part of what we had to become good at and systemize in order to stay afloat, in order to survive. So look at all these people that are like saying, yeah, I self-manage. Like there's actually a lot of people. So Hermel, yeah, you've got 300 units now. You can't be self-managing, but there's a lot of people that are self-managing. And when we do self-manage, we need to put systems in place, guys, because that's going to be the difference between whether you hate your life or don't. I actually realized I quite enjoy self-managing, which is crazy because when I gave it over to property management, I was like, I'm so done. And I didn't have the best relationships with my tenants because I was so done. But now I have great relationships again because I realized, hey, I actually really like this side of things. So anyways, guys, I'm actually surprised at how many people are saying that they self-manage. There's a hello from Jupiter in Lloydminster. 2 doors out of 62 are self-managed. We'll turn these over when current tenants leave. Okay, so Sean, different take on it, right? You've got a thriving mortgage broker business that you've got to keep up on. Maybe you don't have that time. Maybe you're not dependent on that cash flow. So interesting. So anyways, look at all these. I'm actually surprised how many people are self-managing. Okay, so what we're going to do, guys, tonight is we're going to take like I said, a live ad that's, live right now. It's doing okay. It's not attracting the right type of tenant though. So this is from one of our coaching students that is saying, I just think I need to tweak this a little bit. So we're going to tweak it live. We've maybe looked at it, maybe not, depends. We're very last minute tonight. So, but we're just going to say, what would we do? We are combined experience about 50 years, I'm figuring. I counted about 43, so I'm going to say 50. It just sounds better, right? Of combined self-management experience. That means we've put the ads on that didn't work. We've put the ads on that do work. We've learned what pictures work, what needs changing, what doesn't. These guys are here to break it down for you. We are dissecting tonight an ad. All right. Okay, I love this one.
I want to know who that is.
I'm thinking Joan and Gord, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Or you know what, actually, Mike and Corey, maybe. Anyways, we'll see. Let us know who y'all are. Okay, so let's take a look at this ad. Let's start there. Now we've got a really nice place, but let's see what we can do to help out this coaching student that we have. Let's make this ad better. The place is fantastic, but the ad isn't generating the kind of response. They're getting response, just not the kind of response that they're wanting. I'm just going to share my screen here. All right. Are we all seeing this? Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to scroll through some of the pictures first, guys, so that everyone can see the pictures. Put it in the comments what you think. I mean, the place is clearly a beautiful place, so I'm just going to take this banner off. There we go. Okay. The place is great. So, beautiful job done, but let's see what we can learn, okay? So I'm just going to scroll through some of the pictures first. Now notice this is on Facebook Marketplace, okay? There's lots of places we can put it on Facebook, and we're going to talk about that in a few minutes here. But this is Facebook Marketplace. We're looking through the pictures. We're seeing it as a tenant would see it. And that's our whole point tonight is what would we see if we're looking for a place and we're a tenant?
I do want to say whoever did the renovation did a good job because doesn't matter how good your photo is, if your product is not good, it means nothing, right? So they did a good job on renovation.
Absolutely. And, you know, I'm not going to use the name just because I don't have permission to do so. But if you guys are watching and you want to say, hey, yeah, that was us, then I will continue to carry that. They do fantastic work. Like, I mean, I would trust them with anything. But let's see if we can help them make this better. So,
you know, what's interesting, Tiff, is when you sent it to me and I opened it up, that first picture, the kitchen picture, was not my first picture that I saw. It was the closet in the bedroom. So I'm not sure if there's something algorithm-y happening there, that it's changing the first or what's going on. But this is definitely a much better first picture.
Okay, so there we go. We learned something right away. First off, Sam said, okay, if you don't have a good product, pictures aren't really going to help you all that much. So we need to do a good job in providing good product for our tenants. So first thing, good product, guys. Get good product for the people that we serve. Remember, they're paying our bills, okay? Secondly, Angie, Chico. My dog, there's moose. There's 2 moose around our yard that have been circulating, so he probably sees the moose. Anyways, Angie then mentions, you know, take a look at the mobile version and the desktop version of your ads and see how tenants are viewing it. Okay, that's the picture. Hang on, Angie. I'm just gonna stop my share for 1 second.
So that's the first thing that comes up for me.
That's the first picture that came up for Angie on this ad. I mean, it's a nice, you see it's nice finishings, but not the first thing you want to be shown, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so awesome. So great points already, guys. I love that you guys are all here. Need flash in dark room. Okay, yes. Haha, it was us. Is that Corey and Mike, or is that Joan and Gord? Let me see. No fridge. Dishwasher needs better pictures. A door missing to the right of the microwave. Interesting. So these are all comments that we can learn from, right? So Heather, I didn't suggest installing the fridge. Staging the living room. All right, virtual staging. We're going to talk about that in just a little bit and show you some befores and afters on all that. What a difference it can make. Okay. So yeah, we're talking about, there we go. Some initial things that we've seen. So what else, guys, did you see that you would change in this ad to get more traction? Let's go through pictures. You guys can stop me when you want. Oh, wait.
For me, pictures are worth 1,000 words, right? It's more important because this is what people are going to really be looking at. And I have a bias, and I really think having professional photos and going the extra mile and getting the photos staged, either in real life or virtually, can make a huge difference to your ad.
Absolutely. Okay, so professional pictures and staging. We're going to see some befores and afters of some examples of how those things look. All right, Sam, what do you think? What do you see as we go through these pictures that, from your experienced eye, you know what it looks like inside, I'm sure, but from the pictures, what are you seeing?
Well, to their defense, I'm pretty sure they're trying to pre-lease the product. So it's like 90% ready. That's why they're trying to put photos and generate lead. And I do it all the time, and it's totally fine. Just update your photo when it's fully ready and get the professional photos. That's definitely worth every single, but especially it's just renovated. You will not have a better shape than like this right now at this moment. So take the picture now. Yeah, just answer your question on Facebook. The first picture pop up is a glitch that we spend a lot of time trying to figure out. Is like, for me, like when I pull up the ad, it's actually showing the outside of the house. So Facebook, this specific platform, there's not much you can do, to be honest. But definitely on other platform, make sure you organize your photo better so that your best picture is on the front. And when you look through all these photos, I can tell you I'm a little bit lost in the unit. I don't know exactly the layout. Ideally, you want to position your photos to a way that so that when they click through all the photos, they seems like already walk through the whole house, right? So
Ooh.
yeah,
Okay,
sometimes
that's
an
something I've
angle,
never thought of. Okay.
yeah, sometimes
What
some
I always
angle you want
done,
to capture a little bit on the side of the kitchen, then now people can start emerging. Okay, kitchen is right over there, the living room is here, right? So sometimes when you take those photos, you want to be more thoughtful, and obviously the widest angle the better, right?
yes, absolutely. Okay. And that's again, like, so I've been doing self-management for 20 years. I've been renting out. I've rented out, I think we're over 1,000 tenants now. I never would have thought of that you want to kind of position it so they feel like they're walking through. What I've always done is put the nicest pictures first and kind of an overall view. And then, but you're right. A lot of people are very visual and they want to feel like they walk through the house. I like it. I love it.
Well, if you have virtual tour, then it doesn't matter, right? If you have a video
Yep.
and stuff, then it doesn't matter. But if you don't have one, then make sure you position your photo properly. I still put my best 5 photos first, but ideally, I'm trying to say is like some of your angle you want to capture a little bit more than just the living room. So like when you're taking a living room, you want to capture a little bit the kitchen, so now they can know exactly the kitchen is actually right by the living room, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
I think to
Go ahead.
that point, sorry, to that point, Sam, about making sure you get your widest angle. So I noticed some of the pictures were vertically shot rather than horizontally. And with the newer iPhones, especially, there's a feature on there where you can kind of zoom out and get an even wider lens view of rooms. So trying a feature like that if you have.
Yeah, I like it. You know what I would love to see is well, here, I'll show you one that I saw and immediately spoke to me because so the beauty of this suite is that for one, it's actually quite large. And secondly, the ceilings are actually not low. But what I got from this picture is that it's low ceilings. Did you same thing, Angie?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the beauty, guys, of getting professional photos now is 200 to 250 bucks, okay, depending on where you are in the country. I fought this one for quite a while because I thought, no, the photos that I'm taking are decent. I made sure I always had, and I'm not a phone person. I don't care if I have the newest thing or not, but I would make sure I had a good phone with a good camera. But here's the difference. This picture that you're seeing on the screen right now, what a professional photographer will do is, for one, they'll have lighting that lights up the whole place, including the ceiling. So it doesn't look like the ceiling's coming down on you. Secondly, they will use what Sam was talking about, or sorry, what Angie was talking about, that wide angle so that you aren't, sitting in a vertical picture like this when your screen is like this. So couple of, as much as it's when you're thinking cash flow and you're like, oh, I'm barely making the cash flow right now as it is, especially in some markets. This stuff, see, 250 bucks, do I really need it? In my opinion, you absolutely need it. Sam, what about in your opinion?
You pick the photo that I will put the first photo is that one, but I will do it in a different angle. You see how they photo in the street? I will do it in the corner, and then I will take it from the corner angle. It will be way wider, and but again, like as I say, like because they just renovate the product, like I don't know, somehow squeeze that 250 bucks because you will never get this condition again, and you need to take it now.
Okay, so you'll never get this condition again. What he means is right after, and you mentioned this before, Sam, right after renovation, it's prime, it's beautiful. Even though some of these pictures are taken, and you're right, Sam, they are preempting. They're trying to rent it before it's quite finished. So you're right. But now that they're approaching the finish line, It's like these pictures are the best you're going to get even for sale. So we've used these pictures even 3-4 years after and use them for our sale pictures rather than having to wait till your tenant vacates, extending that vacancy for a month while you just for pictures. Now that's expensive pictures. You've got not only your $250, but you've got your vacancy on top of that just for the pictures. So this is really important. So Angie, what about you? Are you of the same opinion? Absolutely.
100%. Yeah. And I agree. You know, your property's never going to look as good as it does freshly right after that freshly renovated position. But also, like you said, Tiff, you know, ideally, you're not going to have the time in between tenant turnover to get the professional photos and staging done then. So as soon as possible, and we've learned, the better.
Right? The hard way for me. Yeah. So I had a place that I could not rent out. This was a few years back. It just wasn't renting. And I thought I had some pretty nice pictures. Finally, I bit the bullet after like 2 months of vacancy or maybe 6 weeks. Bit the bullet, got my professional photos, rented it like literally first viewing after that. It was just such a difference. So
what we've done too is like, if you don't get those pictures, then you're sometimes at the mercy of taking photos with your tenants' things in them. And as nicely as they might decorate, it might not be your taste and it might not appeal to the masses. So then you've got pictures of other people's sometimes personal belongings as well. So that can pose a problem.
So Angie, based on that, oh my goodness, here I am scrolling through some of these comments. Oh yeah, okay, that is coming up. I'm like, and it's not even coming up. Angie, so you sent me ahead some pictures that, you know, touch on exactly what you just said, where it's their stuff in there. And, you know, I actually thought your pictures the year before's with the tenant stuff, I was like, you know, they're not that bad. I would almost, in my early days, have been like, you know what, this isn't bad. This will show good enough. But do you mind if I show some of those right now?
No, please. Is that the 746 you're thinking?
Let me see here. It is, I don't know the addresses. Let me see. You can tell me if this is the one.
So if it's the property we're talking about, not only is it not professional photos, but it's also tenants' items in the property. And that's what we used to advertise for a few years on that one.
Okay, interesting. Is this the one? And is this full screen enough for you guys to see? You can see the pictures good enough?
I can.
Yeah, okay, good. I wonder if I do this, but I don't know if I lose. Anyways, we'll see how this goes. Okay, so, you know, when I see these, I'm like, okay, a little old-fashioned, but people can kind of probably see through it. The kitchen looks pretty good. The furniture's not that bad. It's pretty uncluttered. Like, it's not too bad in my opinion. But let's check out the living room with, now what is this? You tell me.
The in real life staging versus virtual staging. That's a different property, but.
Is it? Did I get the wrong one?
That's a different one yet.
Okay, just wait. I got these. Hang on. There. No?
That's the same property, yeah.
I got them wrong, did I? I thought that I had it right. Let me see. Is it this one?
No, different one yet.
No. We're going to go through all of these, but no.
No, I'm not seeing it.
Okay, so I think these ones are the same property. So again, there's my hated, I don't know if you guys have seen, I've done a couple of videos in a property of ours. We had that curtain forever and I hated it. But I bought like 12 of them because they were $2. So I bought them like en masse. And so I just put them in all my properties, but I hated it. But is this the right one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What a difference going from this. It's okay, right? Some of us might think, oh, this, like, it's not horrible. It's not fantastic, but it's okay. And then we see this. Now, is this in-person staging or is this virtual staging?
Yeah, that's in person.
It's in person. So this is actually a bed that has been brought in by a staging company and, you know, whatever. All the stuff is actual in person. Expensive, right?
Can be, yeah.
Same house or no?
Same house, yeah. This one's a different house.
Different. Okay, I totally messed that up.
Okay.
Okay, so the difference, guys, not only between professional photos, but then virtual staging. And let's talk a little bit more about that. I think I have these ones right, Angie. You can tell me if I do or not. So let me see here. How is that one?
You just turn off your own camera.
Oh, you're
There
right.
you go.
I don't mind it. Okay, Angie, how does that one look? Is this yours?
Yeah.
All right. So is this the same?
Yeah, that's the reno we just finished in November. So this is after renovation, before staging.
Okay. So now we're talking about virtual staging, guys. This is where we don't bring an actual bed and an actual table and chairs in and accessories. This is literally all digital. Okay. So here's a couple of pictures of this property before, so after renovations, but before it was virtually staged. So, oh, I keep on forgetting I'm on two screens here. Okay, hang on.
The nice thing with the virtual is obviously it's far more inexpensive. So it's about $30 an image, depending on who you go with. Really quick turnaround time often. And in this case, it was my photographer who took the photos, and then he also had them staged. So you've got that, yeah, kind of continuity there.
Nice. So generally what I've done is I get a professional photographer. They take the pictures, but then I go onto Fiverr, and I know some people use like a specific, but I've found really good people on Fiverr, and then I get them to virtually stage.
Yep.
Sam, how about you? Do you do virtual staging?
Some of my clients will do it. My own houses, sometimes I use tenant staging. Most of my tenant is very good furniture and stuff like that. But just a tip, like I really pick up from one of my investor friend that when you virtual staging, trying to ask whoever do it, incorporate something that relate to your target tenant profile. For example, maybe you want to make sure they put something with a computer desk or something that they work from home, then they can immerse themselves into the space, right? That's the point of virtual staging. Virtual staging is amazing if it's like a big space like that. Sometimes if I use virtual staging, I will really write it down on the photo, say it's virtual staging. It's kind of a regulation thing too, and then you don't want to interpret wrong to people that this is a furnished rental as well, right? So, but virtual staging is amazing.
Absolutely. Okay, so really good tip there. Make sure that you put very clearly in the description that these are virtually staged, so they don't expect to walk into a fully, furnished house. Also, that this is not a furnished rental, but an empty house that they can make their own. So here's a couple of pictures. We're going to go through these a little bit quick, okay? So when we see those, here's the virtually staged property. And this is Angie's property in Saskatoon. Boom. There's the virtually staged. Now, while I'm sharing screen, I can't see your comments, guys, but throw it in the comments, yay or nay. Do you think this would attract a better tenant to your home? Angie, you mentioned $30 per photo. So this cost you to go from this to this was $30 plus, let's say, on average $10 for or $20 even. So let's say $50 per photo for a professional photographer. Would you say that's a fair estimation?
Yeah. And the photographer usually is $200 and does the entire house. We don't get the entire house staged often. But yeah, yep.
So like between $30 and $50 per picture. And again, guys, you're attracting this tenant, which is nice. It's a great place. It's like, good job. I'm going to get a good tenant. Or, oh my goodness, this is the one. This is the one. Now, Sam, to your point, anybody notice, and I'm all about, I don't know, I'm weird. I like all these little home trends. I don't follow them too crazy, but I do like the home trends. So these like frondy things that are in the picture, Andrea, I noticed this a couple times in your staged pictures. This is clearly attracting a certain tenant. This is highlighting and going for that tenant demographic that you're looking for. And it's this kind of funky stuff, like Sam said, that attracts. Make sure to include some elements. This picture thing, I don't know what's on the wall, the fabric macrame thingy.
Yeah.
Again, it's a certain demographic that's going to go, oh, wow, I love that, right? So are we attracting the right tenants? All right, let's look at this one. So we got an empty room. It's pretty nice. Big window. Sam, what'd you say about making sure that you include certain things?
Well, home office is one of the biggest thing, right? So this is amazing example. It really staged very well. Like people look at this, say, "Hey, I want to work in this home office," right?
Right?
And you attract someone working too now.
Right? Okay, and here's the coolest part about virtual staging. We've just said like between $30 and $50. Not only can you stage it as an office, but same room, I think. And you can stage it as a bedroom. So now you're hitting all the niches that you want. Maybe you want a young family. Well, you're hitting them here. Maybe you want a young couple. Now you're hitting them here. So for very, very, cheap dollars, you can absolutely hit those you want. So again, this picture to this picture. Which one makes you say, okay, this is the one. This is the one I need to go to. This is the one. Bring the money, bring the deposit. We're getting this one. Huge difference. All right, I'm going to stop my share. Oh, I can. My mouse is, funny.
And on the comment, there's a lot of great comment too. Thank you, everyone, putting in your input. Like anyone watching replay, make sure you look at the comment too. It's amazing. Like there's a lot of good stuff there.
Awesome. Yeah. And that's what this is all about, right? So fearless real estate investors, what do? We take fear out of investing. And the best way we can do that is, one, by education. Second best way is by having a group of people that we can connect with, that know our struggles, that we can share with, and have the same conversations with. So Angie just disappeared and reappeared. She's a magic maker. Yes, a boho chick, right, Heather? You want a certain demographic, this is what you're going to get. Definitely going to virtually stage them, Lisa. Do it. It's so worth it. So lots of our Ignited members chiming in. That's awesome. Big difference. Yeah, huge improvement. Perfect. I've used these guys too, Box Brownie. I've used them for virtual staging as well. I don't know who you are, Facebook user, but yeah, lots of good points here in the comments, guys. So Heather does her own, of course, because Heather and Dennis are like rock stars. I don't know how they do everything that they do. What's the better option for staging? Anita's asking. Angie, we'll ask you first, since you've done both. What's the better option, do you think?
I think it depends. So part of the reason we did the in-person staging was because we had just finished the renovations, and we were showing to lots of people so people could see the stuff in the space and they could really imagine what it would be like to live there. It was also the time that we really wanted to support a local business and her staging business. And so for us, we were prepared to make that investment. And we had done 2 properties sort of simultaneously. So we also worked out an agreement where we staged the one, got it filled, moved the staging package about a block over to the next place at a discounted rate. So we negotiated that with her. And we did that on a third property as well, the in-person staging, and it just has such a major impact for people. It has the wow factor for sure. So not only do you get the pictures, but people, when they're coming to view the property, get to experience the staging in person, right? Financially, obviously, the virtual staging makes more sense. And if you have a good stager, you can't tell the difference between the in-person and the virtual.
So just to give a comparative, so we used to do in-person staging because that was the only option. And on average, I would say we would pay, including the setup fees. So I'll kind of average that out. Let's say we did it for maybe 2 months. Let's say, I think it was less, but let's say 2 months. On average, we would probably spend about $2,000 a month ish. Now, do you make that up in your rental income? Yes. Do you rent it quicker and even have people, renting it before your staging is gone? Yes. But virtual staging, just to compare, guys, now I pay $10 a picture. So, for 5 or 6 pictures, which is really all you need. Angie mentioned before, they don't, virtually stage every room. They just do the main ones. So we usually have about 5 pictures or so done. $10 a picture is $50. Let's say $20 a picture, it's $100. Like, it's really not a big deal compared. So, so much. I'm getting excited. I can feel it in my. I'm like, I gotta keep myself calm because this kind of stuff, guys, makes all the difference. Tammy Saunders, she's self-managing from Kelowna. Her property's in Edmonton, so she knows how this works. We have to stand out. And that was her point in the comments. We have to stand out. So question, guys, throw it in the chat and I'll ask you guys as well. But how many of you guys are doing virtual staging right now versus how many think you might want to try it after seeing Angie's photos? Throw it in the chat for me here. I'm just gonna, okay. Hey, Tanis, nice to see ya. Okay, so Heather says, do you coach your photographer that you plan to virtually stage the pictures? Imagine the angles might make a difference. So do you coach?
In this case, my photographer was the virtual stager, so that was really beneficial. But yeah, I absolutely would if you're using different professionals.
Okay, awesome. And for those of you that missed it, the beauty of virtual staging, again, is you can take one room and you can stage it 2 different ways. So we've done it where we've staged it as a child's bedroom. We've staged it as an office so that we're hitting both of our tenant demographics, which is often for us a young professional couple or a young family. So we're able to hit both with one picture for $20 difference, right? So, all right. And I agree. Just thought this is a great place, Angie and Andrew.
Thank you.
So Angie and Andrew are longtime investors. They've been investing for a very long time and self-managing. So they've got so much to share. So, okay, we're going to try virtual staging. Definitely we'll try. We're going to try it for the next one.
I think Tam's a really good point here. Not everybody has the ability to envision space, unless you have been in the design world or are used to reading floor plans or things like that. You can't, the average person can't picture like what size bed will fit in here. Will there, be room for dressers and things like that. So when you do the virtual staging, it's really clear. They don't have to try and guess and wonder then.
And that's definitely a point for me because I am not a visual. I need to see it. I have to see it. Even in our renovations, I have been known to take fridge boxes and draw them out onto the floor. Where's the island? Where's the cabinets? Where's the table going to sit? Where's the wall? I can't just picture it. I need that visualization. So yeah, really good point, Tanis. Obviously, Tanis has lots of experience too, and that's probably why Grant and Crean haven't seen you guys for a bit. And really good idea. You do a video. Now, let's talk about, and Sam, you do this for sale and for renting as well, but let's talk about the video aspect. And you've done your own videos. I've seen them myself, where you're doing it for rent. Now, Grant is bringing up a good point. A lot of people think that that's for when you're selling, you do those virtual tours, but let's talk about Grant's point here. And what about you? Do you do what do you do in your video tours, and how does that help you?
Well, nowadays everyone like to see a video because it's moving and you can put in music and a lot of the time I do my own video because I like I find again the same idea you want to walk through your property when you done the video they know exactly the layout. So usually I will have a sequence. I don't start from the door. I start from the kitchen and then I always move backward. So we are always thinking in their angle what they're seeing. But video is simple enough to do it on your cell phone now and put it on YouTube. One of the things, I don't know if you go through in the wordings on the ad, the first thing we always post is the link of the virtual tour because doesn't matter what link you put, people like to click onto it, right? So obviously you want to click on your virtual tour link, not something else, right? But nowadays we find people like think about a tenant how they look at the advertisement. They will use their cell phone, they have their thumb rolling it, they will see all the photos and then they see a link, they will click on it, right? So video tour definitely is the first thing we do, we put on our ad every single time now.
Really, that's awesome. I don't do that. Maybe I need to be. So, we can learn so much from Sam. Just incidentally, I'm just going to throw out a shameless plug for you, Sam. Sam's been self-managing his properties only for his portfolio and his joint venture partners' portfolios for 10 years. Is it 10 years, Sam?
Yeah, almost nine
Almost 10
and a
years.
half.
Okay, there you go. So in Edmonton, so he's been doing this. He's recently just become a licensed property manager also in Edmonton. So for those of you that are looking for those affordable markets, which we all are right now because Canada's crazy, certainly if you're looking to get into the Edmonton market, Sam is a rock star and works like ridiculously to make sure that his places are filled, whether they're his or his clients. I've seen him work. I've seen what he does. He's the most conscientious property manager I can imagine. So anyways, props to you, Sam. Interesting fun facts about STRs. Really neat. Never knew that, but it actually does make sense.
Another thing about Sam, he does the Mind Your Own Property on Thursday videos, and they're always so full of tips. I remember one that he did last year with the video walkthrough, and a tip I'll always remember, he walks backwards through rooms when he does the video rather than forwards, and it makes such a big difference.
Okay, I remember that. Sam, do you want to talk about why it makes that difference? So Mind Your Own Properties, Sam does host our Mind Your Own Properties on Thursdays at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here in Fearless. So it's a live, and he, like last week, was live from Mexico. Beautiful. But sometimes he's on site, sometimes he's just sharing a tip, but regardless, it's all about self-management. Mind your own properties, MYOP. And so many good tips. But yeah, Angie mentioned that one of walking backwards. So Sam, tell us about that. Why is it so good?
It's just coming in your angle. You want to think about, like, I learned this from one of the video coaching thing. They say, like, when you film anything, try to plan it out like you're making a movie, right? So you want to be engaging, you want to be like in the third party view. That's why when you walk front forward, then you're always in a narrow angle, but if you zoom out, it's always wider angle. I always walk backwards so that it seems like when you are the one watching, it looks like you're walking to the front, right? When I'm walking back, you're actually walking to the front, right? So those are the little tips we do. I know everyone like to take the closet and everything. We just stop at the door and then we'll just move on, so it's so smooth. But you can always video edit later and then take another shot and insert it, right? So there's a lot of different way to do it. But couple points for the virtual tour, I think is make sure you add some music. No one wants to hear your footstep or your breathing. Make sure you want to do your wide angle as well so that they have a full picture. I find it's not as important now. Usually you should film it horizontally because for YouTube, but nowadays I find YouTube adapt to the vertical video now, so it doesn't matter. And I think another tips is like do a little bit slight editing on your video tool. A lot of the problem with video tool is like when you video a room, people don't know exactly the size, right? So a lot of the time when we do our video, we'll do a caption. When we go into the room, something will pop out, say room number 2, 10 by 10, right? It just gives people something to read. When you have something pop up in your video, people will continue engage in your video. If it's only a footage, people will just lost and then they just exit, right? So there's a lot of different tips. We just try and error. It works somehow, so we just continue to do it.
Okay, and you know what? This is something that someone said to me the other night. They were like, "Okay, this is the stuff. This is the veteran stuff. This is the stuff that you've learned by trial and error. This is the gold." And I'm like, "Really?" Because we were talking about what we're going to talk about next year, about algorithms in the different groups and the different websites and stuff. That's what he was talking about, and I was like, "Oh, I never realized that maybe we know these things because we've failed at them so many times over the years, right?" So he said, "This is the gold." I'm like, "Okay, good to know. Maybe I'll share that on Tuesday." So good to know all of this stuff. And I love how, actually, Sam, I had that question too. Do you edit your own videos? I'm not a great editor, so I send it off to Fiverr and I get them back for like $40. But do you do your own?
Well, so this another thing for all the self-managed fellow here is like Sam do the poor man version, right? I don't have all the money to hire all this photographer and stuff. That's why Sam do it himself. So I do edit my video. But think about one thing though here. You're not selling your house. You're just renting your house. So the expectation on quality is not necessary as high as selling, right? Selling for sure hire a professional. But a lot of the time when you're doing your own rental, you are on a budget, you can really easily do it by yourself. And again, like if do a rehearsal before you film it and just plan your route, and then it's not that difficult. And most of the time editing, I only add the caption because when I film, I already know exactly how I want to walk. Usually, any Windows, if I don't use Mac, so I can't help you with that. But any window operation, they have their video editor. I just use that program, right? Nothing fancy, but it do get the job done, right?
Okay, I totally assumed you were using an iPhone and Mac and all that because they're really the ones that are known to be making this video editing stuff easy, which is why I thought I can't do it myself. But I am also like a Samsung user and a Windows user, so interesting. Really interesting. Angie, I have to give you a shameless plug too because I gave Sam one. So what are you up to these days, my love? Because you are a phenomenal investor. I want to have a little piece of everything that you do forevermore. What are you up to these days that we can all watch you do?
Well, I think like so many of you, anyone on here tonight, we're looking for the next opportunity. That will include the strategy that we are used to and kind of have. I don't want to say, I don't want to say perfected, but we've done the single family home, adding value through renovations, adding suites, that kind of thing here in Saskatoon. We're also exploring some other strategies. So we've just done a bunch of learning on multifamily. We're also looking at short-term rentals as well. So really, we're kind of pivoting a little bit, but also keeping an eye out for what's in our wheelhouse, what we're comfortable and have done well at.
So you're taking the last 12 years of experience of self-managing, self-renovating, converting from single family homes to duplexes, that sort of thing. You're taking, and even garden suites and everything else, you're taking all of that and you're pivoting it into something new. I hope you're looking for joint venture partners. I don't know that you are, but I hope you are, if not private lenders. Girl, seriously, if anyone's looking for it, she's amazing and she is like going to do right by you always. Just one of those people. And Andrew is that good heart. So yeah. Okay. Thank you for that, Angie. I know it probably made you just very uncomfortable right there, but too bad. Okay, guys, I really want to quickly, there's 2 things we have to hit yet, and we've got 10 minutes. One thing here is the write-up. Okay, so I know you guys looked at this ahead very briefly. We can certainly talk about this more in Ignited because I'm going to post it there. But what do you guys see that you would change in some of this that would give us more traction in this ad?
Make it more concise. So it's quite lengthy. You can see there's a couple pages of information, and some of it is repetitive. And some of it I think is not necessary to have in a rental ad, but could be a really great thing to share in on location. Something like the pantry. I can't remember. There was a few things that I saw that weren't really, going to be deal breakers for people.
Yeah. Awesome. I felt the same. I'm very much an ADHD person. My brain only sticks around for so long. So definitely, Sam, what did you think?
So the format is great. That's exactly how I will position my ad. I think the feature can be just narrowed down to 10 points, not 15 points. This is an ad good for Faster or other platform, easier to read, not on Facebook. Facebook, I will just cut it out from the feature and then go from there. So I think if Tiff, you don't mind, pull up the Facebook one. I want to point out one thing that really hurting them, and I really want to get across for everyone too. Their ad looks okay to me, a little bit too long, but I think it's amazing writing. That's fine. If you scroll up a little bit to the top, if you look at this is specific for Facebook, I hope I give value to people. Look at what it says: 2-bedroom, 1-bath house. This is a basement suite.
Yeah.
So when people looking at basement suite, they put in their filter, they just searching the wrong category now, right? Facebook don't have a category called basement, so most likely sometime I will put apartments, not a house. Okay, so this is one big thing though. Second thing is in the ad or even your copy and paste in the Word document, is say your text your contact is hidden because Facebook trying to protect your privacy, so they automatically hidden any phone number or they recognize as a phone number. But that defeat your purpose why you put your phone number on there, because you want people to call you directly. So one of the tips or secret that we do is we will try to space it out, or like maybe 780 comma and then the rest of the number. Then now Facebook kind of like don't recognize it's a phone number. But if you choose to put your cell phone number there, there's a point you want people call you, right? But if people is not seeing that, then it's pointless now, right? So there's a little bit tips hopefully can help whoever owns this house, right? I think that hurting them most is because of the house category. They just really post. Here's the problem: you have a beautiful ad, beautiful picture, but you are posting in front of the wrong group right now.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So they are getting traction. They're just not getting the traction that they're looking for. And I know that, for example, it's very, you have to be really clear. But when we used to rent out half duplexes with front attached garages, there didn't used to be a category for that in some of the rental websites. And so it was like, okay, well, do we put it as a townhome? Well, no, because people looking for a townhome aren't expecting a garage. And so our rental rates are going to look super high on that. So we would post it as a house because that was the nearest thing to it. So this walks beautifully into our next thing that I wanted to cover before we end it tonight. And that was the different websites that we use and the different algorithms. So like Sam mentioned, sometimes we have to tweak. So maybe it's not a house, but it's more like a house. So because there's no basement suite thing on Facebook, he puts it as an apartment because it's the apartment person who's going to be interested in a basement suite. So we have to kind of think, put ourselves in the position of a tenant. What would they be looking for, and where are they going to look to find that, even if it's not completely accurate? So what else do you guys find? Where do you post, and what are some of the things that you know about certain websites that are, you know, the gold that maybe us as veteran investors know from experience and hurt, that we can share with the newer guys so that they can learn a little bit?
Well, I think it's going to depend on the area that you're investing, your market, where you are across the country. So here in Saskatoon, I have the most success with Kijiji, although I get way more response on Facebook Marketplace. So Marketplace is interesting because that allows a bit of an initial vetting process, because you can go on and see people's profiles right away. So I do like that fact, but we almost always get our tenants off Kijiji here in Saskatoon. Now, other local investors that I'll speak with don't necessarily have the same experience, and that might be because they have a different property style, different tenant demographic.
Yes, brilliant. So where you advertise is dependent on your tenant demographic, absolutely, as well as your location. So if you guys are in a location where you're wondering what is the best, spot, throw your question in Fearless, put on there, hey, I'm in, whatever, Antigonish, is that how you say it? New Brunswick or whatever. And no, Nova Scotia, Cape Breton. I think it's Cape Breton. So anyways, and where are you finding the most success with tenants? Put in a poll, put in top 3 options, and allow people to add other options. Find out where other investors in your area are posting, and follow that lead. You don't have to recreate the wheel. That's why we're here in Fearless. Every single Ignited is, they wouldn't fit in our group if they weren't giving hearts. And so every single Ignited member, which is our coaching group, will be willing to share their good. Sometimes we have to tag them because they don't necessarily see all the posts, but they're willing to share. So ask the questions, guys. Sam, what about you? Where are you posting? You're in Edmonton, so where are you posting that's working for you?
So again, it really depends on the house category, but in general, Ramfaster, Kijiji actually quite well for us too. It used to be even better, but now it's like slow down a little bit. But we can do another Zoom about how the strategy on different platforms, because they do require some extra work to make sure you can maximize the platform. But in a marketing perspective, just you can't be, if you have unlimited resource, post everywhere, because this is the point for marketing, right? There's no one platform is better than other one. It's just different platform attract different type of tenant and different type of area, different type of profile. So in the end of the day, if you can afford it and think about your 1 month vacancy, spend a little bit more bucks on your marketing on different website, maybe totally worth it. So my answer always is, if you can, market everywhere.
Right? Okay, so let's briefly talk about that. So I know we're literally at overtime right now, but I know for me, the $35 or $25 charge to go on every single website for years held me back from advertising everywhere, because I'd be like, well, I'll just advertise in the top 3. I don't want to spend an extra $75 on 3 different ads. Is that an amateur mistake?
It can be, yeah.
Yeah, I think I've definitely learned for myself. Anyways, let's answer one last question. What's the step to take right away to narrow down all the responses you get if you market everywhere? Good question.
For me, if I get somebody posted, is this still available, being the bane of their existence, if I get that response, I don't usually even respond to that. So that's one way of narrowing out, especially if I have somewhere in the ad, please read whole ad first. They're clearly not reading. Or if the ad is still up, it's still available, something to that effect. It tells me that they're not even bothering to read through. So
so awesome tip. Like, if this ad is still up, it is still available. And then if they ask you a question that is already in your ad, they haven't bothered to read it, they're probably not that interested. I too, Angie, do not even respond to them anymore, but I tell them that in my ad. I say, just so you know, if you ask a question that is already answered in this ad, I will not respond to your ad or to your question. sometimes being clear in our ad also helps us to filter. So good point. Sam, what do you do to filter out the bazillion, like Irshad mentions, he gets 1,000 responses. Like, how do you filter?
So before, we will use a pre-screening question. So basically, anyone say I'm interested or whatever, then we'll just send them a 5-question, like when do you, like a list of question pre-filtered question, so that if they respond, then we engage continuously. If they don't, then we just leave it like that, right? Because if I can ask you basic 5 question, like who is going to move in, do you have a job, or how is your credit looks like, right? Those simple answer, you already have a good feeling if they will qualify or not, right? Nowadays we get fancy now because we become more systemized, and we actually have a custom auto taxing program, and it just pre-screen all this for us now. So
Nice.
something we develop customly, but to most of you listening to today's live, your pre-screen question is the way to go. And don't bother to chase any answer. Don't bother to chase any tenant. If they passionate enough to rent your place, they will answer your couple question, right?
Yeah, I love it. And I feel the same way. Don't chase. You want someone who's more interested than you are. So awesome. Okay, awesome stuff, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. I know it was a little bit of a last minute thing, but you guys have so much value to offer. So thank you for sharing it, because we know that not everyone in this world is willing to openly share all the tricks that they've learned over the last 10, 12 years through sweat, tears, sleepless nights. Like legit, we've had those, right? And we've learned little tricks along the way that are just, to us now they're basic, but to newbies they're not. So it's gold. So I'm going to say what Craig said the other day. It's gold. Thank you guys. And we got to do this again. Sorry. We have to do this again. Sam, like you said, there's so many different things, even just the algorithms of how the different sites work and what you have to do different on each ad for different sites. That is a whole topic of itself that we didn't get to. So anyways, guys, we will see you next week for another Tactical Tuesday. Thank you guys so much for joining us, and y'all have a great week, Fearless. Let's go out there and get it.